Hey guys, this is Alan with GameLark Remixes, and I'm recording a quick video, a little vlog entry to explain a little bit more about GameLark Records and to kind of clear up a few things about the channel and what to expect in the future. So first I want to talk a little bit about GameLark Records. And by now I've put up the announcement trailer and the first preview, which if you haven't seen those, go check them out. I'm going to put all the links to what I'm talking about in the description because I just want to do a down and dirty video to get you guys some information. So yeah, those two videos are out. There's going to be a second preview coming out next week, and then the album comes out on the 30th, October 30th. So mark your calendars or your iPhones or smartphones or whatever. And I guess I want to just take a second to explain what is GameLark Records, how I came up with the idea, something along those lines. So, I started this channel, a few months ago in March, and over the course of several months, I've made some friends. I've got to meet some really interesting people, and I've really got a taste for what this community has to offer. And so I was just kind of inspired by the diversity that I found there. It just in terms of, the sound and the types of people that make music in the community. You have everything from people who are classically trained musicians to just people that are fans of video games and have a guitar and you know, pick up a guitar and start making tracks. Seeing the diversity in the community and getting to know some more of the artists inspired me. And I was definitely heavily inspired by the multiplayer albums, the charity albums that came out, Multiplayer 1, 2, and then, of course, Operation 1UP. All those were, definitely an inspiration just to see how many musicians came together for such a cool cause, whether it be charity for, Child's Play or Darth Aurelius for Operation 1UP. So, those were in the back of my mind. And then I had somebody approach me and say, have you thought about doing a multi-channel community or a multi-channel network with GameLark Remixes? And I hadn't, but I know I don't have the subscribers. I don't have nearly the amount of subscribers I need to do either one of those things. But I was thinking, maybe I could do something like a record label because that's something that you do in music. But, in this instance, I think that GameLark Records is not so much a record label as it is a collective where, I've reached out to certain artists and said, would you like to join me to make an album? And, for this first one, I didn't give any stipulation as far as the sound. I said, just pick a song that's going to represent who you are, because the goal is to try and, create this album that represents the diversity of the VG community. And, somebody that, imagine that somebody's hearing your sound for the first time, put your sound into a song. And I think each one of these songs does a great job of representing these artists. Each one is distinct, it's unique. It's, some of the best work that I think they've done. Of course, I'm biased, but I hope you think the same too. And once I got the ball rolling, I was talking with Swiggles RP. He was really instrumental in helping me put this together. He basically sold me on the idea of Louder a long time ago. And I was like, you know what? With Louder, I could probably do this. I could create a quote unquote record label, which is really just, a platform for me to sell this music. And I could, do this properly. And Louder, I can't say enough good things about that site. Their support staff is always responsive. They make everything extremely easy for anybody that wants to submit covers or remixes. It's basically just a perfect platform for this community. And, like I said, I contacted a few people that I had made friends with, and then I even reached out to some people that I hadn't, talked to before. Just I enjoyed their music and kind of went from there. And the whole process has been incredibly rewarding. I'm it's better than I could have imagined. Of course, like I said, I'm biased, but you'll hear it soon. You can give me your opinions, of course. So that's basically the creation of GameLark Records. And I think I'll explain the goals if I can. Because, you can bring people together. It's already been done with Multiplayer 1 and 2. But, I think the first goal is obviously to bring some really high quality music to you guys. To bring together artists that I think are at the top of their game, doing what they do best, that have made a name for themselves in one way or another in the community. They've kind of carved their own niche. And I know that with each of the songs, before I even had them, I knew that they would be top quality. So that's the first goal, is to provide some top quality music for all you fans like myself that love video game music. I think the second goal is to, find the widest variety that I could of artists. We have everything on the album from electronic to, metal, and I mean pretty extreme metal. If you hear Vlad Topas's track, uh, it's incredible. So that was another goal of mine, is to just kind of try and find a little piece of everything, if you will, so that somebody could listen to this album and really get a sense of what the video game remix community has to offer. Granted, I couldn't get every single artist in the community there, but you know what I'm saying. You get the major genres of rock and metal and acapella and, electronic. I have plans for another volume, and I'm going to try and reach out to even more eclectic and, diverse genres if I can. But let's stick to this one for now. And I think the final goal for the records, GameLark Records, is to provide a platform for these people, because, some of the bigger name guys, they've already made a name for themselves. And I think that right now, the video game remix community is still kind of small. It's still kind of growing. It's certainly expanded over the past couple years, with the success of like Family Jewel 7X and Smooth in the Groove and all those people. But those are still the outliers. I want to get to the point where the artists on my label are becoming like well-known names. And I think that the gaming community as a whole is so huge, but I still feel like there are so many people that are unaware of the talented people that are making music. Because each one of these artists that I picked for the album and for the label are really, really talented at what they do. They've found their sound, they've perfected it, they've got their own style. And I think all they really need now is a audience. And some of them already have a pretty decent platform on their own. But I think those guys that have the bigger platforms are helping to raise some of the artists that don't have quite as big a platform. So, say, just take an example, somebody that's a fan of Carlos and Insane in the Rain music. They listen to this album. They get exposed to some artists that they may not have previously heard before. And suddenly they have new fans. So you have this crossover, you have this not I don't want to say promotion, but you have this, because sort of like collaborations work on YouTube, where you have fans from one group listening to fans from another group, but you have it across the board with 19 people. And it's bigger than any one collaboration could be as far as a song goes. So that's, I guess, the last goal for the record label, is to just create a platform, perhaps make a bigger presence. You make the VG community, like the video game remix community, a little bit more well-known presence in the gaming world. So those are pretty lofty goals, I know. I mean, I think the most attainable one is creating high quality music and making sure that I find diverse artists. But the last one is kind of like a pipe dream. It's something that I'm hoping that the label will do, or the collective, whatever you want to call it. And, this album, when it comes out, it's coming out on October 30th. Each one of these artists has poured a lot of time and effort into these songs. And I encourage you, I've created a playlist with all the songs that have come out so far. I'm going to add them all onto that playlist. So once all the videos are out, you'll have all 19 tracks in the playlist. And I would highly encourage you to support these artists, to buy the album. It's going to be $10. But if you can't, I would only ask one thing. If you enjoy the music that you've heard so far, and you like the idea of GameLark Records, and you enjoy the channel, I would really appreciate just a share, or just a comment, or just a review. Just share it with a friend, let someone else listen to it and say, hey, here's a song I really enjoyed off this album, you should check it out. Because that, at the end of the day, means more than anything. I mean, the more people that are listening to the album, the more fans that are being generated, and the community just gets bigger and bigger. It's a bigger family. So at the end of the day, I think that that's the most important thing. I just want you all to be able to hear it, and I hope that you all enjoy it. And I know that these artists have worked really hard on what they've done. So if you do have the spare $10, think about it. But of course, people like myself that love Spotify, it's always there. And for the final part of the video, I want to offer an apology and a bit of an explanation. I said that the GameLark Records wasn't going to interfere with GameLark remixes, which obviously turned out not to be true. I haven't been posting as much as I wanted to, for sure, but that's just because I've been trying to organize and get the logistics and get the album submitted and all that good stuff. So forgive me for that. I underestimated the amount of time I would need, but hopefully once the album's out, it'll be easier to forgive me. Anyways, I do have some exciting news. I will have a new interview up at the end of this week with Jack, Toxic X Eternity. It's a great interview. He's a fun dude. And I'm going to have, hopefully, 2 new series next month. I would say at least within the next 2 months. And those are going to be some completely different, completely untested things that, I'm a little excited and a little nervous at the same time, but those should definitely be a new direction for the channel as well. And as always, I appreciate all the support you guys give me, and it really, really makes me happy to hear things like, I've got into this artist because of you. I love hearing all the feedback from you guys, and once the album releases, I really hope that you guys enjoy it. And if you enjoy certain tracks, go tell the artists that you really enjoyed what they did. Don't just tell me on this channel. Seek out the channels. You've got 19 artists that are providing tracks for this album. Tell the artists that you really enjoyed their tracks, and I'm sure they're going to appreciate it too. So I guess that's about it. And thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you next time.